Hey, it's Rick with the Rock Bottom Outreach. It is Real Talk Friday. I want to conclude this week on the third part of love. And if you're married, have you been married? Do you plan on getting married? Do you not plan on ever getting married again? I don't know what your situation is, but I'm actually married for the second time. And first time was in 1993. I do recall that. I remember the date was December 18th. I remember who the groomsmen were. Some of you are watching this. I remember, I don't remember any of them bridesmaids, but I do remember it. But I can't remember what the preacher said. I know the part where he said, do you take X, Y, and Z? You know, you may now kiss the bride. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, I guess I'm asking you the same question. Do you remember it? Was it a party or was it a ceremony? Because it's supposed to be a ceremony in front of family and friends and God. And I think that we have forgotten that. You know, it wasn't until 2008 that I began to understand what love was and even marriage looked like. And what a woman wanted, a woman needed. I have to be honest, I did not have a clue. And I failed miserably. And I'm not perfect now. Here's reality, folks. Marriage is hard. Marriage is very hard, and marriage takes a whole lot of work. But you have to decide, is there a deal breaker? Because if you took those vows and you made a commitment in that ceremony, is there a deal breaker? And trust me, me of all people know things happen. But it just seems that in this day and time, we've done marriage all wrong. We've gotten way too creative on how we can spice it up. You know, let's join one of them swinger clubs and you know, bring in a third party and, you know, need to get some of them books and go to these little kinky movies and whatnot and spice it up a little bit. But the truth is, the Bible's very romantic, and if you've never read the Song of Solomon, I recommend that you do. Tommy Nelson, the pastor at Denton Bible Church, does a series on the Song of Solomon, and I recommend that you get that. But here's where I'm going today, is how can we honor the vows that we do not remember even saying that day? That we agreed to something that maybe we never took to heart, if that makes sense. But I'm going to remind you real quick. I want to read it to you. My little notes. One thing that you probably said was to have to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or poorer, and in sickness and health. It didn't say in sexiness and health. It said sickness. Till death do us part. The more I've researched, the more I've studied, the more I've been discipled, I began to understand why God put these guidelines in marriage. Not to make marriage boring, but to safeguard a marriage from outside influences that if we focus on meeting each other's needs first, usually that keeps the outside invader away. Because we're focusing on each other and there is no what about me, what about you. You know, you have to understand, and this is where I really got it wrong, but it is God, your spouse, then the children. I had that all wrong. I promise. I had it all upside down, basically, even if that, I don't know. But I want to leave you with this in the last minute of this, but I work in home health, which means I work in the geriatric population. And so many times I get to see these vows carried out to the very end. And I'm in awe of it. Ran into a husband and wife yesterday at a nursing home. She had a little dog sitting on her lap. And I asked, I said, does the dog stay here? And they said no. I said he brings the dog 4 or 5 times a week. He drives from Bowie to Decatur. He said, and he sits with her. And she doesn't really have her right mind anymore, but he's there. Says he brushes her hair. He wipes the food off her face. He even plucks the hairs out of her nose. That reminded me of what God intended in marriage. Till death do us part. Maybe it's time we get back to the foundation of marriage. Start taking it a little more serious. This is Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. It's been Real Talk Friday. Bam.